Hey, what's up everyone? Ray Del Vecchio here from websiteprofitcourse.com, and this video is going to be for website beginners who want to learn how to use WordPress. And just a quick look at today's agenda. I'm going to go through an explanation of what WordPress is and how you can use it as a web design solution. Then we'll go through a quick tour of the WordPress admin area. That's where you'll be able to edit your website. And then by the end, you'll understand how you can use WordPress to manage your website, and hopefully you'll get some ideas on how you can customize it to get the exact look that you have in your mind. And just a quick note, if you're a complete beginner and you want to either go through this at your own pace or you want to get a handful of other instructional videos, in the right order, go to websiteprofitcourse.com/beginner and you can sign up to my beginner's training. You'll get this video sent to your inbox along with a few others that will just take you through step by step and hopefully give you a better understanding of the entire, web system, whether it's web hosting, domains. Today we're just going to focus more on WordPress itself. And with that said, I want to kind of look through the types of people who use WordPress. So I have an email list with thousands of people, all people who are learning WordPress. I've been on YouTube for several years now, and through my experience, these seem to be the 5 buckets of people who are using WordPress most frequently. And the one that actually, a lot of people on my email list are not bloggers, but I just know personally because I read a lot of blogs that WordPress is the premier software, the best software out there if you're going to run a personal blog. So that's probably the biggest use of WordPress. You'll find a lot of web developers who are good with code. Maybe they have a job at a bigger company. Learning WordPress is a pretty adjacent skill to what they're doing, and it's a good way to get into freelancing if they want to branch out and do their own thing. Another big group of people that I find that become interested in websites are just computer geeks, and I would classify myself as this. I have a code background from college, but I wouldn't consider myself a web developer, even though I do feel like I can get up to speed with a lot of types of code and understand what's going on pretty quickly. But I think a big field of people that are computer geeks but not developers or not coders would be IT. I've definitely heard from a bunch of people that have something relating to a career or a job in IT that have gotten the bug and they're just interested in computers, and maybe they either took a project at their job by the reins or they were tasked by someone at their job to run a website, but usually that sparks an interest and they kind of just go down that path. The next group of people are those that just need a website. Those are business owners. I work with a lot of business owners. That's how I started making money with WordPress, developing local business websites and managing it for them. And a few of my clients have attempted to do it themselves. Before they hired me, they tried to build a website themselves, and they just realized that they weren't computer people, they weren't interested in it, and they weren't getting much value out of it. So once they gave it a shot and it didn't work out, then they wanted to hire a professional. But there's plenty of people out there that are computer savvy enough to get it done themselves. I tend to work with people who are not computer people at all. And the last bullet point I have here, which is probably the biggest group of people, these are simply those that are in jobs that they don't like and they want to find a way to escape, and they gravitate towards the online world. They want to learn how websites work. Maybe they want to freelance. Maybe they want to create their own website and make money through affiliate marketing. It really has less to do about what type of job they're in right now and more that they want to find some type of work online that's fulfilling to them. I just want to break down why you would use WordPress, because there are plenty of other options out there. So I kind of just broke this down into your experience level. People who have zero experience, they probably are not going to jump right into WordPress. WordPress is a step above the most basic web builders out there that all the hosting companies offer, or even the big ones that I tend to mention in all these videos like Wix, Squarespace, Weebly. They're the big services that allow you to create free websites or low-cost websites, and they have their own drag and drop builders. They keep the settings to a minimum, so it's really easy for the user. And the main downside is that you're going to be locked into whatever service you select. You can't migrate a Squarespace website to new hosting because it's using their framework, their design. Now, if you have some experience, you're probably going to select some type of framework, like I just said. I think the key here is that you want to select an open source framework, which means that the company that creates that framework releases all the code, and most of these are free. So WordPress is actually free software. It's what's known as a content management system, and really it's just used for websites that have a lot of content, because if you were doing that manually with code, it would probably be a lot to handle. There's other frameworks out there that use HTML or JavaScript, so if you want to get into the code side of it and not use a system like WordPress, you can still do that, but not have to start from scratch. And then if you are an expert, you have plenty of experience, you still might want to use WordPress, but you're probably going to take that to the next level and also do some custom design or code. And as I have here noted, if you know anything about me, you know that WordPress is my #1 choice for control and flexibility. You can build your WordPress website, learn WordPress, and then when you do, you kind of have a Swiss Army knife at your disposal where you can do so many things that you couldn't do with the lower end services. And then if you ever need to transfer a domain or go to a different web host, you can take your website and do that, move it from host to host, and you're not locked into one company. Now, I guess you are locked into WordPress, but they've been around for a long, long time, and I've been hitching my business to WordPress for the last 10 years, and I think the next 10 years is going to be about the same. Now, before we jump into the WordPress admin area, I just want to go over one really big point of confusion for beginners, and that is WordPress. They do hosting. So if you want WordPress to host your website, you want to go to WordPress.com, and that's where they show you the packages that they have to offer. These are paid packages, and they take care of your hosting. But the thing is, they don't give you the full version of WordPress unless you're on one of the higher level accounts. Now, the other way to download WordPress is on WordPress.org, and the main thing here is that this is where you download the WordPress software, and you have to host it. You have to get your hosting account set up, and you can host it pretty much on any web hosting account you want, as long as they support the software that WordPress is built on. And that's what I have always used. I have never built a website that is hosted by WordPress. I specifically use HostGator.com to host my websites, and I like to separate it, again, just so you're not locked in. And you want to do that, like I said before, so you have the full version of WordPress from day one. I have WordPress installed here, and we're going to take a look at the admin page. So this is the back end of a WordPress website. And if we take a look at the website itself, this is the front end. So let me refresh it just to make sure that I didn't make any changes here. And this is a very, very basic, plain design, and it's geared towards blogging. You can see here we have comments, categories, posts, archives. So if you were going to start blogging, this would be a great way to do it, and then you can build your design over time. You don't have to start with a great design. In fact, the content is probably more important to get traffic. You can kind of get an idea of how to design it around the content instead of the other way around. So let's go back into the WordPress admin area and see how we control the website that we were just looking at. First, let's go over a high-level overview of what we're looking at. So when you first log in, you're going to go to the dashboard, and this is really just a one-page review of your entire site. They're going to show you how many posts and pages you have over here, how many comments you have, what version of WordPress you're running, what theme you have installed, your comments. If you want to quickly type out a blog post, you can do that here. And then they also show you local events that you could potentially go to learn more and meet other people that are involved with WordPress. They also give you some next steps here. They mention edit your front page, add additional posts, or add additional pages, add a blog post, view your site. So, if you want to use the dashboard, you can go ahead and do this. Most of the time, I only do it if I'm looking for a piece of information like how many posts or pages I have or the version of WordPress. I generally like to edit other stuff from within these other sections on the left-hand side here. And this is where you're going to navigate the admin area. So if we look over here on the left-hand side, the dashboard is the top link here. And then if we go to the update section, this is going to show us our updates of the WordPress core software and other software that we have installed with WordPress. We have our posts here, so these are all our blog posts. The media section organizes the media that you upload. So if you upload images or audio files, PDFs, anything to a blog post and attach it to a blog post, you can go into the media section and just review all the attachments that you have with your WordPress website. Pages are similar to blog posts, but instead of them being dated, they're really evergreen. You know, pages like an about page, a services page, a testimonials page. You might change the content on that, but the page itself won't change, and it's not based on a specific date or event. Manage your comments from the comment section. And the appearance section is the big one because this is where you're going to get your design. So WordPress, your web design on WordPress can be changed by installing themes. So there's so many themes out there, thousands of themes out there that you can choose from. Plenty of free ones, and there's a lot of paid ones. You'll also find niche-specific themes. So you might find a theme for a particular business industry. You'll find themes that are geared towards e-commerce. And the main difference between free and paid is that when you buy a paid theme, you're getting probably a better design. You're going to get upgrades. So if they update the code in the future for the theme, you'll get access to that. Of course, you'll get better support if you run into any problems when you're using a paid theme. With free themes, you got to do all the support yourself. And then we have the plugin section. So this is where we add functionality. You know, similar to themes where anybody can develop a theme, you also have software developers that make WordPress plugins. And the plugins add a specific function, whether it's social media, SEO, contact form, there's backup plugins, optimization plugins. So really themes and plugins are what make WordPress so awesome because you can grab other people's designs, other people's code, other people's work and build off of that, like I said, instead of starting from scratch. And then there's the user section. So this is where your admin account will be listed. And then if you want to create new users and give them access to your site, you can do that. And they have various levels of access. So you can create another administrator, or if you want, you can create an editor. They'll have access to all your blog posts and your pages. You can also create an author, which they can write new blog posts, but they won't have access to older posts or other areas of your website. And that way you can protect your website from, you know, somebody making a change and it completely breaking. The tools section I don't use that often, but you can see they have import and export along with erasing your personal data. And then you have your WordPress settings. So we'll dig into these sections one by one and go through the most important elements of each. Let's check out the posts page. So on here I have one published post, and then I have one post which is in draft mode. And you'll notice up here they show you, or you can filter out if you want to show every post, published posts only, draft posts. And if you trash one of these, then you'll also see a trash link up here, I believe. But let's jump into one of these posts so we can take a look. So when you install WordPress, I think almost every time you install WordPress, it automatically comes with this Hello World blog post created just to show you what a post looks like on here. And with the new version of WordPress, they made a really big change to how you edit your posts and your pages with this block system. This is called WordPress Blocks. So right now you're looking at the title of the post, and this is a paragraph block, and they have blocks for various types of content. So if we add a block here, I press enter, we'll go to a new line, and I can hover over this plus button to add a new block. And then once we start adding blocks, they're going to show you your most frequently used blocks over here. So let's click on the plus block, and you can take a look. So we can add paragraphs, short codes, HTML, buttons. We can embed links. So they have YouTube and a bunch of other services, which I'll show you in a second. You can add an image. I didn't mean to click on that, but from here you can upload your image or go directly to the media library if you already have one uploaded. Let me remove this block and we'll take a look at some other ones. Let me go back here. And they show you your most used ones, but we have other categories here. So we have inline elements, an inline image, other common blocks, headings, quote, audio, a cover. So I have a couple images here. Let me select one from the media library and see what this cover looks like. And you can see you can overlay a title over top of the cover, and it kind of darkens the background image. And it looks like I was unable to type right there. I had to click out of the block to start typing. So let's do that, and then once you have various blocks here, you can insert a block in between if you hover over it and just click the plus button. You can also reorder your blocks. If you go over here, you can drag and drop them, or if you click the arrow, you can move them up or down. And we can manage our blocks from up here. So if we click this 3-dot More Options button, we can duplicate, we can insert before and after, we can edit a block as HTML, we can remove a block, and the other cool thing that they let you do is create reusable blocks. So if you seem to create a custom block over and over again, instead of doing it from scratch, you can build these reusable blocks, save them, and then just insert them on any new poster page. So I really do like the block system. I think they might have released this update a little early because there was certain bugs that were frustrating in the first couple of weeks after installing it. But once you get used to it, you know, with every new software update, it just takes a couple of weeks to get used to it. And once you do, you begin to see the advantages. And I just love this experience. It's a lot cleaner of an editing experience, and it helps people who don't know code design content a lot easier. So the other thing that we want to note here is that on the right-hand side, which right now it looks like it's hidden, but if I click the 3 dots up here, this is going to show our tools and our options. And if I click the settings button, we have settings on the right-hand side of the page for both the post or the page, which that's our document settings. And then if we click on a block, you'll get the settings for whatever individual block you're clicking on. So right here, we have our cover block settings. If I click down here, we'll have our paragraph settings. And they give you ways to customize and style these various blocks. I think it's important for you to just play around with this within your own website and get a feel for how you're going to use it. Now, if we go over to the document settings here, you'll notice that for blog posts, we can also choose categories and tags. So categories are really just the broad categories or topics that your blog post is going to fit into. And tags are the more specific terms that you want to tag your post with, and you want people to find your content through search. You can also add a featured image, and you can control your comment settings through the discussion here. And if I jump over to the pages here, the page editing experience is pretty similar. Actually, let me save this really quick. I'll update that. And then if I jump over to the pages, the editing experience is pretty much the same. There's just a couple differences. Number one, you don't have categories and tags for pages. The other thing you'll see here is this is indicating that the blog page we have created here is assigned as our posts page, and this welcome to my website page is assigned as our front page. And you change that within the settings here, which I will dig into in a little bit. But if I go into one of these pages, you'll see how the editing experience is pretty similar. And I actually built this site using a different theme. So what you're seeing here is just the leftover code. I'm just going to remove this block completely. And you can see how this looks just the same as what we had before. So let's go into a couple other blocks here. I want to show you the other sections. So under formatting, it looks like you can insert a pull quote, a table, a verse. And I tend to use this custom HTML a lot because, you know, certain things I do like to customize myself. Obviously, if you're a beginner and you don't know code, you'll probably never use that. And then the layout elements, they have a button. This more tag, this is specifically for a blog post. Normally on a blog page, you just want to show the first couple paragraphs, a snippet of the blog post, and then you want the user to click to the full blog post to read it all. And in order to do that, you can insert this more tag wherever you want that snippet to end. And if it looks like two blocks are just too close to each other, you can either insert a separator or a spacer. And let's take a look at some of the embeds that are available to us. So we looked at YouTube before, but we also have a lot of other social networks here and services. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It looks like they have WordPress, which I guess is probably WordPress.com. I'm not exactly sure what you would embed there, if you can embed an entire blog post or something else. But we also have audio, SoundCloud, Spotify, Vimeo, Flickr, and a handful of others. So it's pretty easy nowadays with this Gutenberg block system to build your layout and also integrate it with other services. So let's jump into the media section. We'll take a quick look at the images that I have uploaded here. And you'll see all your uploads in this grid format. You can click into them. They'll give you the URL if you need to copy and paste that for some reason. It shows you the file size and the dimensions. So in general, like, you can download really, really big photos, and the photos that you take with your cell phone are going to be huge. Their dimensions are probably going to be like 4,000 pixels. You know, most screens on a desktop are 1,300 pixels or less. So I always resize my photos before I upload them to WordPress. But if you just want to upload yours, you can do that and just insert the large version of the photo, which is automatically going to be resized. But the only thing that happens is if you do that, your website itself, your web server, may have a ton of space taken up because of your photos. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are going to have a photo-heavy website. To add a photo, you can either do that directly in a block within the post or the pages, or you can add it here first and then insert it. They tell you to drop files anywhere, or you can select them from your computer, and the maximum upload size is 8 megabytes. Let's move over to probably the most important area, and that's the themes. You know, this is going to be arguably the biggest decision that you'll make with your WordPress website, what theme to use. And from here, you'll see that I have 4 themes installed. All of these are created by WordPress. They put out a theme usually every year, although they didn't put one out in 2018, and they just name it after the year. So they have 2015, 2017, 2016, and the currently active theme is their newest one, 2019. So if you want to just use their default theme, you know, it's perfect for blogging. It's a great way to get started. And like I said, you can test new themes over time, figure out which ones you like, and switch when you find the perfect one. If you want to do that, we can click Add New Theme here, and you can browse the featured themes, popular themes. Most of these are going to be free. Some of these free themes have paid upgrades. So really, you want to pick your theme probably based on the type of website you're building. Again, you know, is it a portfolio website? Is it a blog website? Is it a business website? Is it e-commerce? So you got to go through and figure out what's going to be best for you. The newest paid theme that I think is the best for beginners, because they give you a drag and drop design system, that's Divi by Elegant Themes, and I have a full tutorial building a website using that theme, which I'll link to here. And if you signed up for my beginner sequence, you'll get that in a future email as well. But let me take a quick look at Divi's website. So Divi is a theme that's built by Elegant Themes, and this is their sales page. They give you an animated image here kind of showing how you can go about customizing and building your website. And like I said, take a look at my full tutorial and you can see exactly how to edit every part of your website using Divi. I'll link to this page below as well in the description. But let's go back to the WordPress admin area. And the other sections, the sub-menus under the appearance section here are customized. So this is where you can go through and customize your theme. So these settings are going to be dependent on whatever theme you have installed. There's a few overarching settings that are on every WordPress website, but theme developers, they get to choose what parts of the theme that you can customize. And every theme does it differently. So I think, you know, if you're going to build multiple websites, it's really important to stick with a framework that gives you flexibility, but you want to use the same theme over and over again, because otherwise your learning curve, there's going to be a learning curve for every website you build if you're using a different theme. Now, if you're only building one website, it's not as important, but I just recommend that you go through these settings and figure out the various things that you can customize. So in here, it looks like you can customize the colors. So I can change the link color here from red to whatever color I choose. So I'll make this a little bit of a brighter green. and we can publish that. Let's go back, and yeah, like I said, if you have a different theme installed, you'll probably have more options here than what are showing right now. The rest of these, the menus, the widgets, the home page settings, you can actually access all of them from the default WordPress menu. So let me exit out of the customizer, and I'll show you. If you hover over appearance, you can see you can go to the widget section directly from here. You can go to the menu section directly from here. So I tend to do that instead of editing it from the customize section. And the last thing I want to mention about this customize section is that if you do want to edit the design with CSS code, you can put that right in here. So this is where you're going to want to add your CSS code to customize something. And just to give you an example, let me see if I can do this really quickly. I just opened up the Google Chrome inspector, and if I look here, this is our page title here, welcome to my website, and it has the class entry title. So I'm going to copy this class, and if you don't know code, then you're probably not going to understand what I'm doing, but with CSS code, you can target elements of your website and add a design to them. So in order to access a class or identify a class with CSS, we put in this period, the dot operator. Not sure the exact terminology of that, and they are showing us that we have an error because I haven't typed out the rest of this code. But I'm going to paste in this dot entry title. And with CSS code, you put your statement within curly brackets, and then as soon as I put those curly brackets in, that error is going to go away. And just to show you how CSS works, I can change the font size, the color, anything that I want really. But so for this, let me change the font size. I'll make it gigantic. And there's different ways you could do this, either pixels or by a unit called EM. I actually forget what that even stands for, the acronym. But let me do 3 EM, and you'll see how we get a bigger title there. And if I bump that to 4, you can see how big that becomes. So if you learn a little bit of CSS code, that's how you can begin to customize your website even more beyond what is available to you within the theme options. I'm going to exit out of here and not even save that. And let us move on to the next section, which is the menu section. So usually one of the first things I do when I create a website is just create a main navigation menu. I already have that added here. So if you don't have a menu created, you can click this create a new menu button. Right now I have a main navigation menu created. That's what I named it. And you can add your pages or your posts from the left side of the screen here. So you can select whatever pages or posts you have published on your site, add them to the menu, and then once they're on the menu section over here, you can drag and drop them to change the order. You can drag them inward if you want to do a sub-menu or a sub-item. And the other thing that you might want to do is check this automatically add new top-level pages to this menu. So if you have this checked off and you save that, anytime you publish a new page, it'll be added to this menu, so you don't have to manually do that every time. And then you can use menus for anything else. Like say, for instance, on your sidebar, you want to do your most popular posts. You can create a popular posts menu, individually select whatever posts you want, and then insert that menu into the sidebar through widgets. So to show you how to do that, let's go to the widgets section. And once again, I'm not going to save my changes here. But over here, it looks like within this theme, we can insert widgets into the footer. So this is another thing that's theme dependent. Theme developers are going to create areas of your website where you can use these widgets, which again is kind of like a drag and drop content-based system. But the widgets on our website over here are everything that you see: the recent comments, the categories, the recent posts, archives, and meta, which this is just links to other parts of the WordPress website, the RSS feed, and the login. You'll see that's what we're looking at over here. We have our search widget, recent posts, comments, archives, categories, meta. And let me add in our menu. So I have a navigation menu. So I'm going to add that to the bottom here. And you can title your menu and then select whatever menu you have available. So it just so happens that I named my menu main navigation, and this is navigation menu, but you can name your menu whatever you want. And for the title, I'll just say browse this site, just so it's a little bit different, and I'll select the main nav menu. We'll save that, and once we refresh our page over here, we should see our menu not just at the top here, but also at the bottom. And you can see the color change that we made with the links. Here's our widget. So that's how you use the widgets. Usually sidebars for most websites are exclusively made through widgets. And like I said, sometimes a theme might add a widget area to the header section. Sometimes they might add a widget area under the content. So there's a lot of different ways that you can customize through widgets. And you can even add your own widget. If you know code, there's a way to add your own widgets to your theme. Let's move on to the plugin section. And this is kind of similar to the themes where you can browse plugins that are available to you. When you go here, it's going to show you what plugins you have installed. And right now, I only have one installed called Really Simple SSL. And as the name states, it's really simple. All it does is it converts any links that go to the HTTP version of the website and automatically forwards it to the secure version, which starts with HTTPS. So really all that does is encrypts the web traffic when people download your website. So I tend to install this on all of my websites just to make sure that none of the traffic is going towards the non-secure version. If you want to add a new plugin, you can click that button and search through them here. These are some of the featured ones. Let me jump over to the popular ones. And I have used several of the ones listed on here, especially the top three. Contact Form 7 is one of the oldest contact form plugins available on WordPress, and it's really simple to use and build custom contact forms. You can see here it's got 5 million active installations. And I usually with plugins, I am looking for a high rating. I want to make sure it's 3.5 stars or higher. And I want to make sure that it's got a lot of active installations. I normally don't like installing plugins that have less than probably 50 to 100,000 installations unless it's for something really specific that I absolutely need. And in general, I try to limit the amount of plugins that I install to about 10 or less, because if you have too many, there's a chance that they can conflict with each other or that your site's going to be slowed down by that. Yoast SEO, this is another great one that you probably want to install on every website, and it just allows you to add more wording, better headlines and descriptions for all your pages and posts so that you have a better chance of getting ranked in Google and getting traffic. So let me install this one, and I'll show you how the plugins alter the look of the WordPress website. So once we install and activate this plugin, let me activate it now that it's installed, you'll see that we get a new menu on the left here. So when you install plugins, usually you're either going to see a completely new menu like this one, or submenus will be added to either the settings section or the tools section. So with this one, we have its own menu. So we can go through all these settings within the Yoast SEO plugin. But really the main thing that it does, like I said, is gives you the ability to customize your title, site title, and description and the way it appears on Google. So now that we have that plugin installed, if we go back into a draft here, you'll see that at the bottom of the page we have a new menu, this Yoast SEO menu. Like I said, it shows you the way that your snippet is going to look in Google based on what you post up here. So what you want to do is write your blog post, and then afterwards take a look at your snippet, and if you want to make a more descriptive snippet or description, you can do that through this Yoast SEO plugin. And then if you deactivate this plugin, this entire section is just going to be removed from your WordPress website. I also have a video going through my 15 favorite plugins. So if you just want to get an overview of things that you might want to install and what they do, I'll link that video up here as well. The next section to look at is the user section. So if I go in here, what you'll see is my user account. So right now I have the user account Raymond. And this is where we can add new users. So if we add new, we can fill in this information, fill out the username, the email, generate a password. So it's going to generate a strong password. And you can, as the admin, you can choose whether you want the new user to get this password via email, or you might just want to set up the account and give it to them in another way, more secure way, text it to them. And down here, this is where you choose the role. So the default WordPress roles are admin, editor, author, contributor, subscriber, and then you can see that Yoast SEO adds these two areas, SEO, manager, and editor. So that's the way that you can divide up access to your site to make sure that somebody that doesn't know that much about WordPress can't break it or access areas that they shouldn't have. And this is useful, if you want to collaborate with somebody, if you have somebody, your significant other or a family member that wants to edit or add to your website, you can give them an account. Same thing with outsourcing if you want to outsource some minor tasks. And the other thing is these WordPress user accounts can be linked in to memberships. So on my website, I have membership software, and every time a new member is created, it's linked to this new WordPress account. Like I said, I don't use the tools that much, so right now I'm just going to skip over this, and I want to go through all the settings here. So let me go to the general settings, and this is where our site title and tagline are listed. It shows our URL, our WordPress address, your admin email address, date and time format, time zone. The writing settings, these are your default blog settings, default post category and post format. With WordPress, you have various post formats, but I don't use these all that much. I think themes can style these formats if they want to, but a lot of themes don't have styles for all of these types of content. Now the reading section, this is one where I mentioned it when we were in the pages. I assigned 2 pages, one to my home page and one to my post page. So by default, when you install WordPress, it's going to show your latest blog post on the home page. Now that's okay for a blog, but if you have a business type website, you probably want to build out a home page. So normally, because I'm dealing with business websites, I always create a home page and a blog page as my first 2 pages up here in the pages section, and then I'll go into the reading settings and assign them to make sure that my website is showing a static page for the home page, and all the blog posts go to a predefined blog page that we set. And you can name this whatever you want. If you want to name it an articles page, you can use the blog specifically for events if you have an event-based website. And really important, you want to make sure that you leave this unchecked. You want to make sure search engines can view your site, because if you don't, then you're not going to get traffic through Google. In the discussion section, this is where you have access to customize the way your comments are displayed. The media section, you can choose your the resized images, what pixel width and height you want them to be. For the thumbnail size, the medium size, and the large size. And the WordPress uploads, they're organized with a certain folder structure that you'll notice if you log into your web server. I created a video a few years ago going into that part of WordPress, how WordPress works from that side of things, and not so much the WordPress admin area. I'll link that up as well. Might be useful to go through that, because that'll show you the theme files and templates and how they're put together. And I also go into the web server to take a look at the folder structure that I'm mentioning, which you don't see on the back end here. And the last important part of the settings menu are the permalinks. So this is another thing that you want to do when you first set up the website. WordPress can set up these elaborate URL structures to put the month and the name in a post. So I always pick this post name permalink setting. So all it does is it will take your URL, and this is kind of confusing right now because I named this subdirectory 2019. I shouldn't have done that, because by default, you can see here, if you use a month and name structure, they're also going to show the year and the month. So I hope that doesn't confuse anybody, but suffice it to say that I always use the post name permalink setting, and I do that usually when I first install WordPress. I go in here and set that from day one before I create any poster pages. That's all I got for this tutorial, so I hope it helped you out, and I know I could have went on for another hour, but I wanted to keep this as short and useful as possible. Now, if you are a beginner and you'd like to learn more, go to websiteprofitcourse.com/beginner, and I'll take you through a video series where you'll get a guide on web hosting and domain registration, get a better view of how that process works from a technical standpoint. You'll also get this video again so you can refresh and go through it at your own pace. And on top of that, I'll send you a full tutorial on how to build a website step by step with the Divi theme that I mentioned earlier in this video. If you're a little bit more advanced and you'd like to start freelancing, go to my homepage, websiteprofitcourse.com, and you can download a free giveaway, the 15 tools to start your web design business. I mentioned a couple in this video, and those are all my favorites to manage the complexity of client work. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you get any new WordPress or web design videos in the future. And if you have any questions, the best way to contact me is through email. You can respond to any emails that I send you, and I'll check them out. I do my best to answer them all. You could also leave a comment below. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I hope you join me on the next video tutorial. Thanks a lot and have a great day.